drum roll, please. This is our feature interview with Dawn of the Dead. You'll also like my attire, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Did it just for them. But we have a great chat. Don is one of the nicest guys you will ever meet. And look forward to the new music that he talks about. Can't wait.
Take it away. Most of my mental scars are from years of Catholic school. So let me show you something that we do. Just to, oh, again, harder. Oh, thank you, sister. Can I have another?
Oh my gosh. You know what? I was just thinking. We had just kind of started out at as a podcast, and we were very kind of bad at coming up with TikToks or thinking up promotional things.
Right.
So we thought it was a really good idea at Maryland Death Fest to like do a TikTok like while the band was playing and try to like say who was playing and what. Let me tell you, the one we did in front of Nunslaughter, we could not even use. It was so loud.
Right.
So I don't know why we thought that was a good idea.
So we tried to do a TikTok of you playing behind us, but the audio was.
It didn't work out.
It didn't work out. Yeah, we were learning sound engineering.
And then we said, screw it, we're just going to enjoy the show.
Yeah.
And you were great.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you.
My first time seeing you guys was at MDF a couple years ago. Yeah.
Oh.
So tell us I know you must be working on music. Let's start off with the obvious. What Nunslaughter goodies are in the hopper right now that you're working
on? We just finished a live split LP with Kernigia, and that should be out shortly. We're planning on recording another split with Fistula, another band here from Ohio.
I know that.
And then we're recording a couple of cover songs next week, along with 4 or 5 songs that we're demoing for the next album. So we're always working. A lot of things going on.
You know, and ever since we talked to Tim Green of the fucking Champs, and he was telling us that they were getting hate mail about their name.
Yeah.
But from some Karens who probably never even listened to their music. Have you ever gotten like some kind of weird
hate mail or
yeah, we haven't had any actual outright protests, but I have a folder on my PC with hate emails that eventually at some point I'll do something with, but those were some of my favorites, especially when the people attacking Nunslaughter or me don't really know very much about either the music, or they can't spell, or it's difficult for them to write a complete sentence because they're so angry.
Oh yeah.
And but yeah, no protests, but yeah, quite a few hate emails.
So you never had the Blackie Lawless where you're landing at the airport and it's a bunch of Mormons with picket signs.
No, I wish. Although sometimes on the marquee they change the name to NONE Slaughter, or
oh my god.
Oh my god.
Do you correct them? Do you go, hey, change that shit?
No, it doesn't bother me, but yeah.
We will not go on until, that sort of thing. Yeah, but I mean, Blackie complains about that stuff. I'm like, dude, those stories are the best. I mean, what are you doing? He's like, it was such a dark time for the band.
Oh my god.
I'm like, get over yourself. Yeah. Nobody else has stories like that. Come on.
Yeah.
Right.
Any press is
well, he went uber religious recently, or whatever, a decade ago, something. So
I know he's one, and you know who else? I forget that Mustaine went uber religious, and I'll start watching like a clip with him, and then he'll break into the Jesus talk, and I'm like, oh god,
it's painful,
terrible.
Yeah, it's sad.
Another fallen soldier from Satan's army. No, it's terrible. So. Yeah, I was at I think Ollie's, and they had Dave Ellefson's book. This is like 5 years ago. And I hadn't been following. I was going to buy it. It was like $5. And I saw it was all religious shit. And I was like, oh, no.
Wow.
They've all kind of, it's rehab that does that. we had.
Yeah, well, part of rehab is they put in religion, and it sinks
Like the last
somebody's
step or
psyche.
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
right. I guess after he went through rehab 16 times, some of it stuck on the stage.
exactly.
Anyway,
So I think you guys, I might have the world record for the most splits ever.
yeah.
In fact, we had one out on the show the other day. Do you have a most memorable or favorite one, or is there one split that was brought up to you that you would not do?
Well, I don't do any splits with bands that I don't respect. And we do like to do splits with bands that are not always the same type of music. We've done grind and punk splits, as well as death metal and thrash metal splits. So it's more about either the band or the people in the band that makes me want to do a split with them. And then if we're able to reach a slightly different audience with that band, I like to do those. But there's a few bands out there I'm still looking to do splits with that we'll see if they ever come around,
I was looking through. I mean, you've done, it's very varied. I mean, Sloth to Lurking Corpse to even Grand Belial's Key. I mean, it's very, Black Death, Stoner. You guys are pretty diverse with your choices.
Yeah.
I had a question about one of them. I really like, what was it? All right, so you're split with Grand Belial's Key that you did a few years ago. Great cover of Venom's Hell Child. Okay, now obviously Venom was a huge influence on you guys.
Oh yeah.
But you have always kind of kept that thread of humor in your style of your music. Venom did not. Do you think that they were too serious and that was their downfall? What do you think?
No, I think that for me, what I liked with Venom was that they were so over the top and with a lot of their lyrics overtly satanic that I think that even as a kid, it's difficult to take them as serious. And after meeting a couple of guys from Venom, they're nice guys. It was just a topic to sing about, and but Kronos and Venom's lyrics are some of the best in black metal or death metal or whatever you want to call it. So I think that because they were so over the top is what gave them the kind of a tongue in cheek, just for me. But yeah.
Just thinking of like, remember Ultimate Revenge, the
Mhm.
VHS when Slayer they were all like real skinny, and Exodus was just tearing it up, and then Venom had the smoke machine, and theirs was a production, and I just thought, well, maybe they started to believe some of their own hype around 85, 86, maybe that was the down.
Maybe. I mean, I personally think they should be kings of the underground, but because after they kind of split, they went Venom Inc. and Cronus does Venom.
Yeah.
It kind of weakened both the camps rather than
right. I
make it
agree.
stronger.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I loved when Cronus came out with that album. Was it Sleeping in the Fire that had the Thin Lizzy cover on it and all? I was like, yes, now we're talking. Now we got a little bit of humor. Now we're not taking ourselves so fucking seriously. I mean, come on, but anyway, no one else liked that album but me, apparently. So
Yeah, I always thought, Nunslaughter comes off a little more memorable because not only is the music great, but you end up making us smile. So, in that way, it kind of sticks with you.
Yeah, I mean, especially when we're performing live, we really enjoy being in front of people and talking story and letting people hear the lyrics. That's one of the main things that I like to make sure that I articulate what I'm saying. And I try not to mumble the words so that people actually hear what I'm saying. Because a lot of it, it's somewhat poetic, the way I try to deliver the lyrics.
Yeah. Well, I agree. Question for you. I've always want to know, is there something with Hell's Headbangers beyond just label band relationship? Because you have so much merch on there and so many releases through them. It's like I just have always wondered, is it just that you like the label, or is there more to it than that?
I do like the label. It boiled down to when there's three brothers that run the label, and whenever they started, they consulted myself and our drummer Jim, who passed away, an awful lot. And Jim, myself a little bit, but Jim more so, kind of held their hand through pressing the first CD, pressing the first record, and pressing the first 7-inch for them. And then he gave them a lot of contacts. And from there, kind of, they kind of took the ball and ran with it. But yeah, they're all three of them are I'm very good friends with, and it just makes it easy for me as well. If I've got a problem or an issue, or if we want to discuss the next release or a re-release, how we're going to tweak it, I just pick up the phone and call someone, or just drive down there. They're only about 40 minutes away from me, so I can just go to the
I
warehouse.
figured it was something like that. I figured it was
Yeah.
something like that because it's just you have pages and pages of T-shirts with them alone, and I thought you were going to say, well, I drive trucks for them on the weekend or something. I don't know.
No, I have worked there, but that was like 10, 12 years ago. I worked for them.
Mhm. Okay, gotcha. Right, that makes sense too. Yeah.
I love your new stuff on the Metal Mistress with the crop tops with that red with the color
Yeah.
wedding death cover. Oh my god, I think I would have to have
I'm
one.
I'm anxious to see them. She contacted me a little while ago about producing some products for the ladies of metal, and I said sure. And what she designed was fantastic. So yeah, I hope it does well for her, and I hope to see some metal ladies out there wearing some Nunslaughter gear.
There you go. Yeah. Now, you guys have a lot of live EPs. Do you record every show, or like why are there so many?
It started off, I was recording not only every show, but almost every practice. And
Wow.
it it was kind of a way to I guess gauge or hear what we sounded like once we got the recordings home. And then so many labels started asking for releases. We didn't have the time or the money or the inclination to go in and record new material every time. So I was like, do you want to do a live split? And we were fortunate enough that they took us up on that. So yeah, there's a lot of live material in Nunslaughter out there. Quite a bit of it is on vinyl, and quite a bit of it is poorly played and and uh, poorly recorded. But I like that about the live material. It's full of all the warts and scars and ugliness.
Yeah, it's genuine, right? Yeah.
So, of course, being around as long as you have, you've had a lot of lineup changes over the year. Can you think of someone who maybe had the shortest tenure? Was there like a pet peeve and you were like,
You don't have to name any
Well,
names, just the stories.
yeah, no, we actually and there was a fella in the band. I thought he was a great fit. His name was Tony, and he recorded, I think, our split with Hemorrhage, and it was one other split. I think we did 5 or 6 songs all at one time together with him. And then as quickly as he showed up, he was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And he was done. And I can't,
Oh.
for the life of me, I can't remember his last name, but he was in the band for it couldn't have been more than 2 months, and we recorded 2 records with him, and then he left. So
He was your Mark St. John, your Kiss Mark
yeah,
St. John.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it had to be the most horrible thing had to be losing Jim in 2015. I mean, was there a moment when you thought, I don't know if I can,
Carry on.
continue?
Right.
Well, after losing Jim, I kind of if the people that knew Jim would know that he would have wanted the band to continue. He wasn't the
Mhm.
original drummer, but he was in the band for I think about 18 years, and he was a prolific songwriter. So much so that when he did get into the band, he and I uh, butted heads a lot because he wanted to take over the songwriting duties, and I didn't want to relinquish those reins, and so uh, we fought a lot about that. But he proved himself over and over, and probably about 4 or 5 years before Jim passed, he and I had a conversation about him continuing the band if I died. Um, and I live a sketchy lifestyle. So I told him, I said, no, I said, please, I said, when I'm dead, I said, just let the band die. And he's like, are you sure? I said, yeah, that's what I want. So, I know that he wanted to go on. It wasn't a difficult choice. It was a difficult task. But yeah, I think he'd be happy and proud of what we continue to do.
Did you threaten to haunt his ass? I will haunt your ass.
No, but yeah, I think about him every day. The anniversary of his passing is coming up here, October 7th, and we're playing a show on that date as well.
That's awesome. So I noticed between like your full lengths, it's always 7 years. Is that by design? Or you're like, all right, 7 years, I got to do a full length.
No, it just has to do with time. There's only so many hours a day, and if we're playing a lot of shows, you're practicing for those shows, and when you're in writing mode, Jim and I were doing a lot of split 7 inches, so we'd write 2 or 4 songs, record them, put them out on a split, and then go back to rehearsing and playing live shows, and we did that for many years, and now I think Red is the Color Ripping Death came out I think 2 years ago, and we're on pace to put out an album next year, so it'll only be 3 years.
Okay, there you go. I thought you were doing like the SIGHFIGHS. How the hell do they calculate that out? Anyway.
Yeah, I love, like you said, the way your lyrics kind of rhyme. It reads like satanic poetry, like rotting body of Christ, speaking in strange tongues, dying among the dead, the strong eat the young, evenings of the master, carried on the wings of death, consume the Holy Trinity, satanic to the last breath. Do you plan like that out? It's like satanic Dr. Seuss. I love it.
Thanks. It's becoming increasingly difficult to come up with new rhyme schemes. I mean, when I me personally, when I have difficulty trying to think of the way that I want the lyrics to go, or how the lyrics should go, uh, my fallback is Ronnie James Dio. I go back and I listen to virtually anything he's ever written, and you can find different rhyme schemes, how he put words together. And I get a lot of inspiration out of Ronnie.
Mark used to write susicles for our one show, like kind of doing like an ironical thing on some news story out there. But we've recently graduated to doing more weirdnesses.
We're doing a susicle for.
Are we
the
doing a
show,
susicle?
for
We
the
might be
show.
doing one. And,
Like I would find out that like Nickelback has a documentary, so I'd write like a Dr. Seuss style poem about making fun of it or something. So,
and last time we premiered sock puppets.
yeah,
So yeah,
we're all over the place.
So there's-
Yeah.
we don't know why. always into different stuff.
New content, yeah.
So, but I love that shirt because I love the color of red is color of ripping death. I love it. Who did the goat with the decapitation and he's eviscerating while he's still holding her boobs? So see, that's the humor part there.
Yeah, it was a Chinese artist that I found on Instagram, and we threw a couple of ideas back and forth, and he actually wanted to go with Michelangelo sculpture as the inspiration for how the graphics are laid out, and I thought it was a very good idea, and so when he sent me the first couple of sketches, I said, yeah, let's run with that. So I have to give him all of the credit. I just gave him the title of the album and told him what I'd like to see, and he developed the whole piece of art himself.
That's great.
Yeah, it's perfect down to the goat's rectangular pupils. I always love that about that. Oh yeah.
Okay, so we play a game on the show. Are you ready to play a game?
Sure.
Okay. The game is called Blaspheming Monikers. Okay. So I have 5 band names in front of me. One of them is made up. One of them is fake. I'm going to read them to you, and I want you to tell me which one you think is fake.
Okay.
This is right out of the Metal Archives random band generator.
And he'll repeat them.
Yeah, I'll repeat them. We'll just go through them until you get it right or I run out of band names. So, okay, band number 1, Witch Chapel. Band number 2, Black Witch Pudding. You're seeing there's a theme here. Band number 3, Buffalo Witch. Band number 4, Jizz Witch. And band number 5, Witch Smeller Pursuivant.
Black Witch Pudding, the second one.
No, they're actually a stoner band from Portland. They have one 2013 LP.
I'm unfamiliar with them.
Maybe they were inspired by
The
fig
entire
pudding.
world is unfamiliar with them.
Hmm.
All right, so that leaves Witch Chapel, Buffalo Witch, Jizz Witch, and Witch Smeller Pursuivant.
What was the last one?
Witch Smeller Pursuivant.
I'm gonna have to go with Witch Smeller Pursuivant.
No, they're real. I actually have one of their albums. They're from Belgium. They're like kind of like traditional doom metal. They have 3 albums. Yeah, they're the toast of Belgium, I think.
Huh.
So that leaves Jizz Witch, Buffalo Witch, and Witch Chapel.
Buffalo Witch?
No, they're a stoner band from Grand Rapids. They have 2 full lengths. Yeah.
See, this is stoner metal. I know very little about, so I haven't.
Apparently
I
they're
haven't-
into witches.
They're
Yeah.
into witches. I
Yeah.
wanted to make a band called Get Off My Sandwich. I thought that would be great, but that's too obvious. Yeah. I'll tell you, the one I made up was Witch Chapel. Yeah. Which
Really?
sounds like it's real. Yeah. Yeah,
It
Jizz
does.
Witch is
That
real.
might
They're
have been
from
my
the
last
Netherlands.
choice.
Yeah. I've gotten better at this over the years. Like we did one of these with John from Incantation, and I had made up a band called Pilsner. What was it? Pilsner
Wolf.
Wolf. And he sniffed it out right away. He goes, "That's not real." I was like, "All right, I got to up my game." Anyway, so yeah, that was Blaspheming Monikers. Yeah. Some of these names that come up, you're like, "What are you thinking?" Ugh.
Like Mark always
Well,
says, he
I'm
thinks,
always
you know,
surprised
it's like
when-
you name.
I'm just going to say that I'm always surprised that with new bands or current bands that come up with a band name that is easily searchable on Metal Archives. And you're like, why did you name your band that? There's 7 other bands called that in the world. Like, why would you name, like,
Right.
it's so easy nowadays to find out if there's another band called,
Confirm.
your name. Like, just
Right.
why would you do that?
I know it. And there's two things that irk me. Well, one that irks me and one that I kind of like. It irks me when it's like, well, we took 5 minutes to come up with this name. I mean, really, it's your band name. Why are you just picking the most obvious thing? But the thing that I like when their band picture on Metal Archives, everybody dressed up except one guy. I love that. When it's like, I guess we got to take the picture now, Frank. Everybody else is all corpse paint. And Frank's wearing like a Louisville Slugger shirt or something, or a
Nunslaughter's got a few of those band pictures like that.
I
It wasn't
have not
me.
seen that, but I guess it comes with the territory, right?
Don't feel bad. I had a picture of my high school yearbook where it was the track team and somebody forgot to bring their uniform. So I'm on a Great Adventure t-shirt. Like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, really, if you think about it, one of the best examples of that, the most Spinal Tap cover is Black Sabbath Sabotage, where Iommi is sitting down and they're in front of that mirror and Ozzy's dressed up and they're all wearing different outfits. I mean, that album cover should have never been.
Right. I agree. Yeah.
I mean, the fact that, I'm like dying to know, like, what happened? I mean, Ozzy's got like clogs on. Iommi's not standing up, and Geezer's got those tight red pants on. It's like, what the
Yeah.
hell?
Yeah. The
Like,
spandex or whatever it
you know
was then.
something
Yeah.
happened. Oh, that's my favorite.
so have you ever had a band write to you or come up to you and say, you guys were such an inspiration as far as like our band and starting off the tenets of devil metal for us, or has that ever happened
I'm
with
sure that has happened.
Yeah, I know that's happened. I can't think of there were 2 guys from separate bands, different countries and everything, that came up to me and said that. I don't recall what they said their band was at this time, but yeah, it's pretty it's touching, somebody heard your band and says, I'm gonna make something like that, because there's a lot of people out there that I'm sure heard Black Sabbath and was like, we got to start a metal band, and so they inspired a lot of folks. Yeah.
Have you ever played with a band that you thought was going to get really big that just didn't?
Hmm.
Or you
No,
played with a
nothing.
band that you thought was rubbish and they blew up.
Oh, there's quite a few of those. Yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't want to name any names, but oh yeah, there's a lot of those. Like what are
I
they
hear that. I hear
doing
that.
that I'm not
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah. You're like, these guys have no chance. Next thing you know, they're all over Spotify. Right? Yeah. Mhm.
So, has your songwriting process changed over the years? Did you start with lyrics or music, or does it depend on what you're working on?
Very early on, it was more about I would sit at home and write the lyrics, and the other guys would come up with some riffs, and then when we got together, we try to make it fit. And then by the third demo, um, I was kind of on my own, so I would most of the time I would write the lyrics first, and then come up with music that fit the lyrics, and then that happened up until probably about 99 or 2000, and that's about the time that Jim took over writing a lot of the music, and it was he would just he wrote so much music that I couldn't keep up with writing lyrics, and I never got ahead of him writing music, and he would get a little a bit petulant whenever I would come down with actual music and lyrics. He never wanted to play those songs. So, but eventually I wore him down.
There you go. They say that tension is so important in the creative process, but I know it can be a pain in the ass too. You know.
Oh, we had a lot of tension. Yeah, there was a lot of tension.
That's a nice way of putting it, right?
But yeah, well, I mean, we we fought almost like brothers. I kind of always felt that he had my back, and I hope vice versa. He always knew I'd have his back as well. But yeah, that it made for a lot of tension. Past band members have quit because of how toxic of a environment it was when we would practice together. Jim and I would fight. We'd hold grudges. Just it's like having a brother or a sister. You just, just give them grief.
Did you ever watch or see like another band talking about, their kind of their issues and think those guys don't get along? Like, were you able to spot it after a while in other like larger bands, like the Van Halen thing or whatever,
Yeah, but those were I guess real overt acts, punching somebody, shoving somebody, breaking somebody's shit.
Wow.
Jim and I seem to put on, especially well, on stage, a very different attitude. Like, a lot of people were surprised or are surprised to find out that how much we fought because of the chemistry that we had on stage. That never came. And again, it's like one of those things, we could be bickering with each other just as we're walking up on stage, you motherfucker, I fucking hate you. And then it's like, hello, everybody.
Right.
And then, game on. And we would just, and then, we'd play a show together and you get off stage and the fight was over. And, it was just because we just got to blow off steam some way.
That's how it was with Filthy and Fast Eddie. Like Lemmy says in his book that they were fist fighting up until it was time to walk on stage, and he would be like, and they would go on stage and they would play. And then, like he said, if you look close, there's actually footage sometimes where Fast Eddie would kick him off the stage, and then they'd go right back into fighting again. I mean, just fist fighting every possible minute. I mean, it's. I guess again, they set the template for all of us, right? So
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to say, I when we interviewed Kix, I had to ask them, was there a real, Rosie, or was that a real person?
Rosie character.
So, but with you guys, I was like, was there really a naughty woman that's inspired like Satanic Slut and To a Whore, or is it just kind of a compilation?
Is it some old non-school teacher, possibly?
Well, Satanic Slut, I wrote that probably I wrote the lyrics about 4 or 5 years before the music was ever written, and it was just sitting in my my folder. And once when Jim played the music at practice, I was almost like, it's like, I've got this song I've been waiting to play, or waiting to use. And that really kind of fit in. And that was not really about anyone in particular. Yeah, Two Whores is about a particular individual, and but I'll leave them out of it. And
yeah,
I thought it. I thought that
it was the Kardashians.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
I thought that song turned out pretty good. I thought it was a good follow up for Satanic Slut.
Yeah.
So what do you guys have coming up? I know you've got the Metal Immortal Festival in PA. Is it coming up?
We played that last week.
What? How was that?
It was fantastic. We got to play with some of our good friends in Midnight and Black Knife, and Spider was there, and Pillars, and yeah, it was a fantastic a fantastic show. We have it's a CD release party for friends of ours down in Canton coming up on October 7th. But then our next two are we're doing a Midnight is having a 20-year show event here in Cleveland, and it's all Cleveland bands that is playing that one, and that's somewhere towards the end of October 27th or something like that. And then the next day we're playing New Jersey. It's a fest called Spooky Fest. And lots of bands on that one as well. Yeah, I think those are the only three shows I think we got for the year. Working on some tour stuff. We'll see if that pans out or not.
Speaking of shows,
That'd be great.
I can't recommend the Cavalera enough. I mean, wow. I mean, I don't know how they did it, because you know that they're incredible musicians, but they sounded like they had that kind of manic guitar, like strangling guitar from like 1983. Like they bring that to the show because they're just playing the Morbid Visions, stuff. I don't know how he managed to do it. I mean, it's all blasting, and it's wow. They really kept the spirit of Brazilian kind of black metal. It's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't I haven't seen him on this tour. I probably won't. I was surprised that I actually did like the re-recordings. From what I understand, they've
No,
also
I usually hate that. Yeah.
they also recorded a Schizophrenia, and that's going to be something that's supposed to do next year on tour. But it kind of makes me wonder why they gave up that style of music and went well, uh, more like Soul Flights and stuff, which isn't
Yeah.
quite as evil.
No, definitely not. But the encore is. I told Stace I never thought I would hear "Escape to the Void" live, and they played it. And I was like, yeah. I
He was
thought
like,
that
you
was
could
just.
smell the evil. This
Yeah,
is
I was
awesome.
like, wow. I can smell sulfur. This is so great. Yeah. So
Oh, so they don't just
And-
do stuff from the first EP and first album.
they do. That's their set. But then they came out and they did like "Refuse, Resist." They did a handful, and they did 3 or 4 songs from Schizophrenia. So.
I got you.
And there was a couple times that they backed into like a harmony, and I was like, "Aha, you guys know how to play smooth," but they just chose not to. And they've got Igor's doing the Skull Crusher. He's Igor Skull Crusher. Like it's totally 1983 all over again. It's really well done. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Do you guys have like your favorite bands that you love to play with?
Yeah. I guess Midnight might be
Uh,
one.
Yeah.
Actually, Midnight's one of my favorite bands to play with because they do have a lot of energy. And then the other another band great to play with is Spider out of
Oh yeah.
Philadelphia.
Yeah. We
A
saw
lot,
them
lot of
with
We did
energy.
that.
Yeah, and yeah, they did a tour with Midnight as well. But yeah, those are the first two that come to mind. Just because they have a lot of energy on stage. Sometimes bands don't live up to the music that they've recorded simply because sometimes it's so technical they can't enjoy themselves on stage, or let's face it, a lot of them are just obese and sluggish, and they just or drunk. I mean,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, those two bands are great.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll get you back out for another Maryland Death Fest at some point, or
Or
Helen
just the Baltimore show. We'll be there. Yeah.
Yeah, well, hopefully, if we do some of these tours that we're looking into, we'll be out on the East Coast and the West Coast later this year or early next year. But nothing's set in stone, so we'll see how that pans out.
Well, in Baltimore, they're doing this year. Or in 2024, they're going to do the rescheduled MDF, and then they had this new thing called Hell in the Harbor. It's a few weeks apart. But I'm curious to see, can Baltimore handle 2 huge extreme metal festivals? Because this is the first year they're going to try to do both. So we shall see.
Yeah, I know last year was also that Hell in the Harbor. And people said it went off very well. So
It went well.
I don't know. And then there's also
It
the
was-
Milwaukee Metal Fest happening. You know, who knows?
Yeah.
We're not normally invited to fests, so
We'll see what we can do about that.
Yeah.
But you know,
Appreciate
it's just like the only complaint I had about Hell in the Harbor was they would have like an inside stage and an outside stage, and sometimes the shows would overlap, and I'd be like, all right, I really want to see Inner Arbor, but I really want to see Pig Destroyer, so we're gonna have to like do halvesies. You know, it's tough.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
wouldn't want to be the kind of baby band that's playing inside while Napalm Death's playing outside. It doesn't seem fair, you know.
Yeah, because I mean, Napalm Death's going to draw a majority of people. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and maybe they just,
we
if
snuck
this
into
was
the
their
baby
first
bands.
one, or last year was their first one, maybe it'll be organized a little bit better for the up and coming year.
Yeah, because I remember MDF 10 years ago, they had it like clockwork. Like
Yeah.
nobody started until this one was done. Like, because it was
It's
like,
good.
yeah, it was like because I remember they had Mortuary Drape inside and they had St. Vitus outside, and Mortuary Drape like played the last chord, and then St. Vitus started up. So that was a lot tighter. Hopefully, we'll get back to that. You know.
Yeah, the first year we played, we were outside near the bridge or whatever it was called, and as soon as we finished, everybody kind of turned around and walked the other way and watched Cyanide play. And it was like it was that way
Right.
all day.
So it can be done.
I thought it was great.
It can be done. It can be. It just takes somebody who knows what they're doing. Yeah. Yeah.
We can't wait for new music sooner than 7 years. I'm so excited.
Thanks.
How weird is the 7-year thing? Oh my god. Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Mm.
And hopefully we'll catch you live once again, although we won't try to talk over you this time.
I appreciate it.
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.